Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Zero Time Dilemma. So, we are going through the timelines still, jumping around a little bit, not really making as much progress as we would like. And I imagine we'll probably be able to do a few more of these branches that we haven't filled in, but it doesn't seem like we can get to this branch at all until either we see the different endings here, or see all the other paths, and I'm not sure which one is really going to trigger that. It seems weird, though, to potentially have the good check mark ending and then have the game potentially force us into a bad ending. But in a weird way, we are kind of trying for a good ending, playing within the rules of this game, when the good ending, the true ending, will probably not play within the rules of the decision games being run by Zero, not the rules of the actual video game we're playing. But yeah, we are running out of new things to do, and I think we need to do a Q team this time. Although it's going to kind of unbalance itself too. Like, there's 3 remaining of these, 2 remaining of these, and 2 remaining of these. So I guess we should do a D team. But I feel like the last recording that I remember, because I was getting really sleepy and forgetful, was this memory fragment here. Which would mean we should really do a Q team right now. But if we did that, we would be kind of out of order. And I guess I kind of want to try to avoid the gun sequences, because the gun sequence did give us a actual ending, so that leads me to believe any sequence when you do see a gun is potentially where you do see a weapon. That is where you get the bad endings that become the keys to the good endings. So almost certainly, if you wanted to rush it, you would do this memory, and this memory, and that might change your experience in doing the other memory fragments, even if you have to do the memory fragments. It may be a case where you really don't have to do the memory fragments, or all of them. Let's just pick this one. But yeah, it could very well be a case where you don't have to do all the memory fragments. If there is some kind of weird play the game a second time and defeat it in less than 90 minutes concept, you almost certainly would want to skip a lot of these memory fragment and alternate timeline things.
For rest and healing. Not healing physical injuries per se, but to recover from mental fatigue.
This is Phi and Sigma and
It's
Diane.
Then
Phi has noticeably been missing from most of the storylines, and so has Mira.
So it appears we've been down for 4.5 hours.
So a lot of these female characters aren't getting a lot of characterization, and a lot of the guy characters.
Really the first time we woke
up.
Then you mean we might have been awake several times already?
Yeah, they're saying basically the same thing over and over again because everything is played out of order.
I mean, maybe not vertically, but laterally, like horizontal. Well, there's no point to talking more about it here anyway. You're right.
And see, I don't know if that dialogue would have changed
On it.
if I'd played this at a different time, or whether the cutscenes are set in stone. You'd kind of think the cutscenes are set in stone. So you have a room here that's full of a lot of white, like, 3D models, kind of low effort 3D models. We can see that there's a weirdness here. We have a puzzle behind a blue thing, so maybe we change the color and we can see a different solution there, or maybe we actually get into it. There is a timer over here. Probably don't want to activate that quite yet. There's a console, and most of the times when there is a console, there's not much you're actually interacting with, although in this case you might interact with quite a bit. Seems like there's like a piano interface where you're gonna have to find piano keys and maybe play music, which, yeah, that's would make some sense. Here we have a note: star, pitcher, glass, eyeball. We have a bottle of water. No gravity affecting the water, so it won't spill out if you turn it upside down. Some matches. Now we're starting to see them reuse several items. They're calling that a tumbler. Close enough to a pitcher. In the medical room, there was a picture on the wall of a angel with a candle. Here we have a picture of what looks like a demon that says "defeat me." That's a pitcher, I guess, because it has a handle on it. And we have a glass here. I wonder if we're going to shatter things. Let's see. Bunch of dialogue here. Feels like only some of the keys are available. Now we have a C key. Now we have a B key. Now we have the A key. Now we have F key. Now we have E key. Now we have D key. And so we're just going to fill up our inventory with all of these keys. I'm not taking any of the half notes. Or are we clicking on this one in the corner? Okay. And again, I'm not really interested in reading all this. I just want to get through these episodes quicker. In the long run, I will have a better experience just beating the game and not being exhausted at the end of beating the game compared to reading the conversation and dialogues here. I feel like the way we've seen a lot of the characters, I mean, if we just look at it here, there are 4 female characters, and then Q, which I think is female, and then there are 4 male characters. And you could, I think, easily break that down into a much smaller collection of characters and just have the same storyline and personality merged into multiple people. Now you run into some problems with like Mira, because Mira we kind of know is crazy and a bad guy, and so is the same for Eric. So you probably, for the most part, just eliminate those characters in completeness. You don't really need to have a character that was crazy before the story and the events of the story even started. And you don't need a character that is a murderer, or 2 characters that are murderers before the events have even started. you could probably merge Akane and Hugh as being a cute kid character that you'd want to protect. And even Diana at that point could all be merged into one or two characters. And then you almost certainly could combine Junpei and Carlos as a character, and frankly Sigma. Just merge Junpei, Carlos, and Sigma all into the main player character, because that's basically what they were in each of their respective games, or at least Carlos is the main playable character, or could have been the main playable character in this game. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. Phi, maybe you keep Phi so there are at least 2 female characters. But yeah, fairly easily you could get to an Indiana Jones and his damsel in distress female assistant that you see in the first 2 Indiana Jones movies, where there is Indiana Jones, and then there is a lady that ends up going on an adventure with Indiana Jones when there's well, I would have thought this would have worked. Am I really gonna have to combine all this? Like, wait, here we're on the C key. Lever won't move yet. Okay, so we can't do it. Anything yet. Okay. But yeah, I do think you could have a fairly easy experience telling a story with just one main Indiana Jones-like character, have the trilogy kind of follow that Indiana Jones-like character. The paranoia and the concepts of people not remembering who they are or knowing anybody they were with in 999 is not really being copied in Zero Time Dilemma, because they chose to show other characters everybody kind of already knows each other. So yeah, there's been no real emphasis on thinking about or figuring out who might be this new second Zero. Okay. Pattern on the wall changed. What in the world is going on? Not just the wall, the chair, the table, and even the color of the water tank. Amazing. It doesn't look like a simple projection. It must be some kind of projection mapping technology. What, you're saying it's changing color on its own like a chameleon? I wouldn't know. I've never seen this kind of technology before either. Incredible. So now everything is different looking. The items in your inventory, though, are still the same. And now we have something different. Flowers and buds here on the picture of the flower. Oh, the picture of the flowers changed when I touched it. The picture reacts to being touched. Why don't we see if we can make them all bloom? So this is just a straight up puzzle. If I did that, and then did that, and then did that, and did that, that's not gonna work. Oh, that's not gonna work. Oh, it did work. Why did that work? That didn't feel like that should work. Made all of the flowers, but nothing's happening. Maybe it was just a game. No doubt Zero prepared anything. No, I doubt Zero prepared anything meaningless. There should be more to this. Then let's look around again and let's check other places now. And see, yeah, now we have a green. So, if we could take screenshots, this would be great to overlay the green and the blue, but we can't, so. It's a knife here. Oh, I didn't catch it before because of the pattern. A weapon, why is Zero giving us this? So it's just in the outcropping of the wall. We have a knife. And then the poster is missing, so we can't stab it. And the candle's just burning along. So I have to assume that the candle will light something up at a different setting. And in a different memory fragment, we did see this wall. Interesting, it only goes between those two. Trying to just overlap even those two puzzles, though, is going to be difficult. The pattern doesn't quite match there. Nothing happens here. So let's stab this guy with the knife. This is really scary. Why is this in the healing room? It says defeat me. If that is an instructions from Zero, or what are we supposed to do? Could be a riddle. How about we check and see if we're holding anything that can defeat it first. Yeah, just use the knife. Let's see. Pretty sure it would count as defeating him if we plunge the knife in his heart. I guess that means you have to actually click on the heart. Alright. The picture disappointed. We defeated him. I can't believe it. It was a riddle. It wasn't a riddle. Look over there. Another light turned on the dial. Maybe we can change the room to another pattern. This is a fairly, I think, good example of where having these escape rooms be different rooms would make a lot more sense, keeping things fairly small and simple. Although, in all fairness, Virtue's Last Reward at times, the second game in the non-re series, did have you going around to different areas looking for clues, and it became fairly monotonous fairly quickly, because in those periods where you could just wander around in the entire facility, you were just wandering around the entire facility looking for a single clue, and then once you found that clue, usually you would get a cutscene. So the power is off now in this sequence, which we now know it's red, green, blue, and white. Still not seeing anything from the candles spot. And they're just gonna leave the knife there. Shoot more keys, it says now. Right, that now works. Now we have a digital camera, which the idea of them giving you a digital camera at this point in the game is infuriating, because you'd kind of want that to have been just the default thing you got at the beginning of the game, at least in the menu, that you could take pictures. Alright. The camera wants us to shoot more keys. I can't imagine there's too much more. So it does seem like we are just going to use the digital camera. We need to get out of the camera mode, though. So now we have the other one that's unlocked, where it has this kind of outside feel to it. Pattern on the floor. We'll see if the camera is good for that. Green gives us one shape. Only in red water does the pattern on the plate have something that looks like a key. Yeah, I think one of the key slots opened. Okay. There is a section in Virtue's Last Reward that was kind of like this park section that looked like this too. Ooh, so this very well may be some kind of lineup situation where you have to get the camera zoomed in to take the right shot, which makes this puzzle fairly different. This is kind of like what you do in The Witness. So this is a room that's all about perception. 100% perception. That being said, I don't know if there really is that much extra here. Okay. And see, that pattern makes me think I should take this over here and see if we can pick it up. Move it, but honestly, I don't think that actually is the solution. I think the solution is a little bit simpler. It's just to take the tumbler here. What does it say? Oddly shiny? Yes. Take the tumbler, put it in the middle, and then that spins the reflection on it and morphs it. And 4 keys in this area. I think it's probably all the keys in this area. It would be hard to believe that there's more. So, go over here, turn this back one more turn. In this area, we will see that there's nothing in that. And there may just be nothing in general here. There was something more to it there to get one key. Okay. I don't think there's anything else here. Unless it's on the floor, unless it's on the ceiling. So let's switch back to the original room. Now what's scary about this is potentially there's going to be several more rooms. That could unlock, and just don't know what I would really expect to see from another room. That being said, we still have 2 keys, so we might as well save ourselves some time and start to play with putting things in the right place and just see if that changes anything. C key. This will at least get rid of our inventory and tell us something. The B key goes there. I don't have that one yet. A key. We'll skip over the G key. Yeah, and they seem to be scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as having things to say about each different key. It's a little hard to read from 10 feet away looking at a computer monitor, TV, which is how I'm playing this game, whereas if this was on a 2DS or 3DS at some point originally, you would have that screen, even though it is a small screen, like you would have the screen right in front of your face, and you could easily move the screen closer to your face if necessary. This is motion sickness inducing, as floating in the sky. Alright. Yeah, I don't see how people would think that that is particularly relaxing. Okay. So the note was star pitcher glass eye. So yeah. Use the camera to take a picture through that. Maybe we need to use the bottle of water in the pitcher first. And put the water in that. And that uses up our water options. And now we can rotate things. But see, the weirdness here is that at no other point in the game so far have we had that as a situation where you could look around and spin around a puzzle sub-menu, sub-zoom viewing angle. So now we have a projection of a key, and this would, I guess, just be a matter of timing at this point. If you'd moved fast, you would have gotten it. If you moved slow, you have to wait. And they're making it very, very obvious with the green. And making it fairly consistent with the green, which is great also. Once again, though, this really plays into the idea of a timed challenge at some point in the future. Like that's the only thing that would even slightly make any sense as to why there are so many things that are time-based and so many things that are incredibly impossible to do if you don't already know the answer. Alright, so now we can play a play button, and this could be a nightmare scenario because it may play some notes and I may have to try and recreate the notes while being tone deaf. But ideally, the game has been fairly nice about just playing, subtitling the notes. So if it does play some notes, I would assume it would do like B, C, D, E right in front of you. All the keys fell out after playing the tune. It lit up while each sound played too. Let's pick up those keys first before we start worrying about the sounds. Apparently we've now picked up all the keys. They want me to put the keys back in the piano. Alright. Sure would have been nice if there was a note there, or if it had played a couple times. So immediately I'm going to potentially have to just look up the answer here, unless it tells me the answer, because like I don't even know the starting point. Plus it went by so fast that I really wasn't catching all of it. Like, it was nothing like that. It was something like this, then this, then this, then this, and then this. Can we hit the play button again? What is it spelling? See, and again, this is the problem of being able to barely make out those cursive letters at the bottom. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I can figure out what it's spelling. If I could figure out what it was spelling, then that would tell me probably a clue, but I guess I should just pattern match. Yeah, okay. So the start point is here, then go here and here, I think. and then go here, then here, here, then here, here. Let me see if that's accurate. Alright, so I just need to start at the 5th position. And then the pattern's not that hard. Here, 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 then here, then here, then here, then here, then here. Oh good, it played okay. So now we have a button, and that was the end of the puzzle, and now we're in the turned off room.
Looks like a button.
Guess we should push it.
It says warning,
Dumbass.
do not push
Can't
the
you
button.
read?
Warning, do not press this button.
Pretty intense for just one button.
So maybe
And
if they change the
What
hologram,
exactly are we supposed to do?
then
We've
it
checked
would
out
say
this
push
entire
the
room.
button.
There's nothing here that looks remotely like it to unlock the door.
The one thing we haven't investigated is this button here.
You also haven't considered just staying in the room,
Okay, I'm gonna push
that the
it.
door would be
Wait!
on a timer.
Hold on!
What?
Your hearing going? I told you there's a warning on it.
So what? If there was a warning sign saying don't leave this room, does that mean you'd stay? It's just an empty threat. If we really weren't meant to push it, then it'd never be put here in the first place.
You
What
might
if
try
it's a trap?
pulling the button.
Trap?
It's
Pulling it
human
upward.
nature to want to press it after being told not to. This setup is just bait. By giving us this warning, Zero's plan is to manipulate us into pushing it.
What if we do then?
Something bad will happen.
Now they have a knife here,
What?
I don't know.
so
Maybe
potentially
one
trying
or
to cut
all of us
off your
will die.
bracelet or hand
That's
is an option.
ridiculous.
They didn't think of that.
May I interject?
That's the kind of
This really
conversation
is
you
a
could
button
have
meant to kill us
written
somehow.
into
Why
a
would Zero
cutscene.
put something like that in the open? Don't you think that's strange? There are several other ways Zero could make us die.
Exactly. Like maybe putting poison in our bracelets. There's no need for him to use this button to go about doing the deed.
It's a game.
What?
Remember what Zero told us? It's a decision game. Our fates will change depending if we decide to press it, or if we don't. Anyway, I think we shouldn't do it.
It's a stalemate if we don't. We'll never get out of this room.
Yeah, even if that's true, it's better than our lives not advancing any further than this.
Yeah. I suppose if they just
We're
wait
getting nowhere.
the 90 minutes and get drugged,
Shall
then
we
they
take a
just
vote?
potentially wake
I
up
say
in
we
a
should
different
push it.
room.
I vote that we don't touch it.
What about you, Diana?
They're so overly focused on these pieces of
I...
jewelry. Diana is technically the leader of this team. Although it definitely doesn't feel like you're actually playing as her any more than it feels like you're playing as anybody else. So
There's no way to know what will
inherently,
happen if you don't press it, right?
you either press a button to press a button on the controller, or you just wait. So let's just wait and see what happens
Listen to me,
there.
Diana. Don't even think about touching it.
Wouldn't it be funny if it changes the warning after a certain number of seconds?
Zero's telling us not to push it. We need to do the opposite. Don't forget, he's the enemy.
This feels like this should have
I've
been
got
a
bad feeling
fairly
about this.
early
A really
memory
bad
fragment
feeling.
that you would have done. So it feels kind of out of place later on in the gameplay. Notice how the
If there's a
camera's
bomb and this
just
button turns off the
zooming
timer,
it in.
If we don't push it, then we're goners for sure.
Don't press it, Diana.
Push it.
And they're
You
definitely
have
trying to
push
put
it.
as much pressure on
You
you
mustn't.
as
Push
possible.
it.
So we get an achievement for doing that. What are you, chicken?
The door!
It opened.
See? Didn't I tell you?
It opened because we didn't touch the button?
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Hey, not necessarily. The door might have opened if we had pushed it anyway. We don't know.
Ugh, stubborn old man.
Anyway, we should go. The door might close if we take too long to get out of here.
So I imagine this will just take us to another cutscene.
Sigma, how old are you really?
What's funny is I think
22.
we've seen this conversation
Mine.
before.
Well, by now it must be almost 67.
67?
You remember, right? I told you my consciousness came from 2074.
Does that mean you were 67 there in the future?
The details are a little more complex than that. But that's more or less correct.
So is it the same thing with Phi?
Yes, it's the same. She came back from the year 2074, too. With one difference. Her mind's still young. She must still be around 20 years old?
That would mean she was born approximately 2054.
No. She was born in 2008.
Huh? But the math doesn't...
From April 2029 to January 2074, she's been asleep inside of a pod.
Yeah, they're just explaining the events
A
of the
device
second
that is
game.
capable of placing someone into cold
Which,
sleep.
if you haven't played the
It's
second
45
game,
years of
just
blank
sounds like
nothing stuck inside her mind.
complete and total
So that's why
nonsense.
She still thinks like a 20-year-old. But how?
How what?
How is it possible for you and Phi to come back to this time?
The shift phenomenon.
Shift?
It's short for space-time human internal fluctuating transfer. Essentially, it's when a human consciousness is sent through time and space. For example... yes. We can use the button from earlier. We didn't push that button, and we're here right now. However, there's a world where we did push it somewhere in this time-space. This world, this history, infinitely branches off as a result of momentary decisions. There are other yous, other me's, and other phi's. All of them exist in those different histories. Shift is the phenomenon
this
that allows
cutscene in
us to send
particular
our consciousnesses to them.
probably should have been
This is
the second puzzle
difficult
you
to take
did,
in all at once.
It's the truth.
even if
Still,
chronologically it
you
happens
don't
later
explain to
on.
me how it does whatever it does.
So you want to know what it is exactly? I'll sum it up in one sentence. I don't know.
Really now?
Did that come across as if I didn't care? This is the conclusion I reached after 45 years of consideration. I know how shift works, but as to why the phenomenon happens,
Wait, did you just say you know how shift works?
yeah,
How does it then?
two things are required. Innate abilities and danger to one's life. Basically, when a person with this ability faces a life-threatening crisis, that's when shift kicks in.
Which just certainly explains
both you
why
and Phi have
you would
this
have a
ability?
game like this happening.
A lot of odd, inexplicable things happened to me when I was a kid. One winter, my friends and I went fishing, and I slipped, falling into the water. I woke up under the blankets on my bed. It was the next day. When I saw my friends at school, I asked them, what happened yesterday? One of them spoke up and said, "You blew us off. You promised to come fishing, but you up and canceled on us." There's more. I was about to get run over by a car once and found myself in the school gym. I fell off the roof only to wake up on the school bus. Things like that. Of course, at the time I had no idea what was going on. I just believed they were extremely vivid dreams. But now, I know. I had shifted to another world, in another history.
But shifting to an alternate dimension or alternate timeline at the
Where's
same
Phi, by
age
the
is
way?
different than going back in
Huh?
the past.
Oh, she's gone. I saw her over with Gab just a minute ago.
Now announcing the current casualties.
This would be crazy if Phi died
C-Team. Carlos,
somehow.
Akane, Junpei, As a result, 4 X-passes will be revealed. Fire, crash, 5, ice. That is all.
No!
4 people are dead? What the hell happened?
They were executed
Executed?
from the vote at 13:30. Because of the outcome, the 3 and C team.
But wait, that's weird. When you voted back then, you chose Q team.
Are you sure?
Huh?
Did I really vote for Q team?
What are you saying?
I don't remember. I don't remember which team I voted for then.
I guess they should have
That can't
emphasized
be.
that.
We weren't injected with the amnesia drug afterwards.
I know, but still.
Wait, hold on. There's another possibility. Maybe the 3 teams really did split the votes equally. All teams should have survived without dying in that case.
But they're...
I know. I'm just saying that maybe C team was all killed because of something else. They could have gotten into a big argument and then killed each other.
No. But why would they do that?
Can't say I have any idea. Still, can't we say the same thing goes for what you believe? There's no evidence to support the idea that C team was executed. We don't even know if they're actually dead.
And here we get a flash for a different timeline.
What's wrong?
I'm pretty sure there's no mistake. C-Team really was executed.
How do you know?
I know because I just do.
Then what about Eric? How did he die?
Eric looks like he was shot
What in the hell?
by, in the
Who the hell
timeline,
did
by
this?
Q.
In Ward Q, there's...
There's only Mira and...
And yeah, almost certainly they would assume that Mira did it over Q.
What?
This doesn't seem like a blackout.
Is the X door being opened right now? Nope. Zero is just showing up. That's unexpected.
Look out!
Or Phi is showing up dressed
Are you
like
all right,
Zero.
Sigma?
Diana! Run!
No, I can't leave you here.
If I go with you, I just slow you down.
You're wounded.
Just go! Hurry! Now's your chance!
But...
Why would Phi be stabbing?
Go!
Why would Phi, like, try and kill Sigma, though? Maybe the idea is to put him in danger and make him shift? Here we have another one of these transitions. I'm running all over the place scenes.
Phi!
What's wrong?
Well, if that's
Sigma.
Phi,
Sigma, he...
then who is in the cloak?
There!
Sigma, please hang on.
Oh, it's you, Luna.
Luna?
I'm sorry that it came to this, Luna.
Is
That me
Diana
from the past won't be coming back here.
actually
My shift
based
connection's
on...
been cut. I'm sorry. No, you won't be born in this world.
What are you saying, Sigma? I'm...
No, not just you, Luna. Kyle, Lagomorph, the others. But maybe it's better this way.
So effectively, in this timeline,
History's changed.
Sigma dies, and that just erases all the events of the second game.
Will surely be.
Which, you might as well. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the true ending of this story actually does erase all the events of the two previous nonary games completely. But it still leaves you with a mess because you don't wrap up the idea of the morphogenetic field, you don't wrap up the idea of shifting, so you still have this universe where there's just too much weirdness and too much magic to make yet another sequel in.
We have no idea when the killer will return.
Who is the killer? Should only be the two of us now, and we're D.
Yeah, you're right. Zero must have hidden himself away some.
Is there really anywhere to hide?
Wait. You don't really think it was me, do you?
Get away! Stay away from me, you murderer!
Hey, wait! Diana!
Yeah, I kind of think it could have been Phi, a different timeline Phi, or a copycat version of Phi from an alternate timeline.
Why?
But
Why?
I doubt it was the same Phi
Kill Sigma?
somehow being able to find the cloak, hide herself, and then run around and be found in the healing room.
Phi?
And then also there's a question as to
Phi?
why isn't the computer announcing...
Please, hang on. It was the killer.
Like, why...
Killer. Do you mean Zero?
No, I don't think so.
Like, why is the computer not
Wasn't
announcing
Zero.
Sigma's death and giving a code?
You have to escape here, Diana. If I die, you can...
What are you saying? You can't die.
Phi potentially
I'm
could be
so
the child
sorry,
of
Phi.
some other character here. Because in their original timeline... Well, no, she was born in 2008, and this is past
okay.
2008, so
As
it's
long
not a
as you
situation
survive.
where she could have
Why?
been,
Why?
say,
this?
Akane and Junpei's daughter.
This feels nice. Such a familiar smell.
I have wondered if maybe she was... I thought Phi might have just put blood on her back and then fallen over and then stabbed her
No!
while she came to help. That would have been really tricky. Even the actual Saw video games, of which there was a couple that were made,
Now announcing
really
the
failed
current
to make a
casualties.
great experience around
C-Team, Carlos,
these kind of
Akane,
death
Junpei,
game Saw
Q-Team,
movie-like events.
Eric, D-Team, Sigma, Phi. These 6 are now deceased. As a result, 6 X-passes will be revealed. Fire, Crash, 5, Ice, Dad, Time. That is all.
6. 6 X-passes. If I put these in...
Each of these codes has something specific around that specific person. Now I am glad, and we should just type this in, to be able to look at the menu and just look at the log to get the code. Fire, Crash 5, Ice, Dead, Time. In the first game there was a talk around a magical ice, but that character pretty much is not in this game, so they probably aren't going to mention that again, or they'll make very little reference to it. I'm still not 100% sure that by inputting these codes, Fire Crash 5, Ice Dad Time, like, I don't know if entering these codes opens all of the different X doors for each region so that everybody could run through at the same time if they were standing in front of the same door and could run through in 30 seconds or not. That would be something that, if you had an opportunity to coordinate with people, would make a lot of sense. And had that been on the note at the very beginning, at the very first vote, and they had the dog put that information out, saying as soon as the door opens, everybody needs to wait 5 minutes after the 6 codes are announced, and then everybody should try to run through at that point. So yeah, I don't know if this just opens this door and lets Akane through, although in this ending I don't know if it isn't right to get Akane's ending, and you're left up to your own devices as far as whether that's a good ending or a bad ending. I think that was a bad ending because I think she just got stabbed and maybe the dog escapes, but I don't know if the dog actually is going to. So the killer escapes. So I guess the other choice there would have been to not type in the code, but why would that matter? Really? Save every time for safety. Alright, and where were we? Don't transport, just kills you. That's not what we were doing. Don't press the button. So, if we were to teleport back to this point, we probably could put in maybe different codes at a different point, or we could just not put in any codes, or put in the wrong codes. I imagine you just get a game over on this one also. And like, yeah, we have now unlocked a cutscene. We haven't unlocked anything new here, I'm sure. Right. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to take a bit of a break, and then we'll come back and we will go here and see what happens if we don't type in the code, and then we'll rewind back and see what happens when we press the button. I imagine pressing the button is just another dead end. Everything really is just lining up to be dead ends, and still we don't have a single timeline over here on the left, which they might as well have just labeled this as the true ending if that was going to be it, or just not show it at all as an option until we've done everything else. Although I guess I kind of appreciate them actually showing it. Anyways, I'm going to pause the recording and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, let's see, can we jump to this point, and let's see where this point really takes us. Yes, we can, and then it is just skipping a lot of cutscenes at that point. I have to say, it is kind of nice at the very beginning. We saw those first force quit boxes, and it didn't pop up a input to type into the force quit boxes, whereas Virtue's Last Reward at one point really did have the ability to type in a code that you wouldn't have known in the first playthrough. But on that same aspect, I kind of wonder if there isn't a question here if I typed in a different set of codes other than the X passes that are actually given, if that wouldn't cause a different thing to occur. Because certainly I could type in 5 of the ones right now in the log. Fire crash 5, ice dead. And then not type in time, and then I could instead type in, say, what was one of the other codes that we've seen. I don't know if I remember any of them, actually. But, and particularly, I don't know which specific one would have been specifically for Akane. So if at some point in the future they make us type in our own code based on our own death, that would suck, for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna lean towards the idea that now is not the time to try something fancy and type in codes that we wouldn't have heard in this timeline, even though that would prove to the computer that we have seen other timelines. Instead, I'm just gonna hit error, 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 and see if we can do something else. It does oddly kind of lock you into this. Which I guess that leaves us with no choice but to do solutions. I imagine if I did the same code the second time, you wouldn't get a different ending. Although it's not super crazy that you might get a different ending. That is not what I intended to do. And I'm just trying to rack my brain around what a different code would have been. Fire. Ice. Fire crash 5, ice, dead, time. I've done backfire twice here. And there are only five character long codes at the beginning, so seems almost like you could guess. Like, I'm really trying to rack my brain as far as what would be a code other than time that we've heard. Or have we just heard the exact same codes over and over again? I don't think so. We could try Mom, since everything else seems to have a issue there. Wow, it even locks in the other ones, so those are good. Let's bring up the characters and see if we can think about this. Carlos is a fireman. Akane, I think, is supposed to be ice. And Junpei, I think, is supposed to be fire. Q, I don't know. Eric is probably dead. Let's see, Diana's alive. Sigma would be time. Or Sigma would be dad. And can you spell choice? You can spell choose. Murder? No. Q. Zero. Just randomly guessing. Love. Yeah, and there's just no way to pull up a log that would go far enough back. Like, this log could go back to the beginning of the cutscene, and that's as far as it goes. My brain is just completely empty, so I think it's probably a waste of time to try anything else. Because I could certainly guess 5-digit words like crazy, or fewer than 5-digit words. But there's really no telling if any of them are even going to work. Fire and ice might give you water. As an option. Alright, so let's just type in time. Like, this is a waste of time, otherwise. Yeah, I would have just had to have remembered what these codes are. So you know what I should do first is make a memo. So, pull out the mouse controller for this. And we're just gonna assume that there's nothing of importance here. Interesting, it almost feels like there's a currency and then how much you can draw. So, fire. Yeah, there is a currency and just how much it can store. Fire. And then ice. And we have to kind of conserve here as this goes. Also, I'm gonna have to come back and just double check the logs. Ice Dad time crash 5. dead. And just by alternating the colors here, we can safely have the text next to each other without it feeling like it's the same word. Okay, ice dad time, fire ice dad time, crash, and what's the last one? Fire crash 5 is the last one. Okay. It seems almost with the word fire and 5 that it's tempting you to accidentally put in the wrong code. Same with kind of fire and ice. I could see people getting confused at that point. And typing in the wrong code and then that ending up changing the events. There's only 3 more codes that we need to make a note for. We should have done that earlier by far. But I guess that's a little bit of progress. Yeah. And then we just skip this and we get stabbed and then we end up in the same place. Same game over spot. Which is, we'll go ahead and save just in case the number of deaths amounts to something. But yeah. It doesn't quite make sense that you run into a game over on this section unless it turns out that at some point either the red or green jumps the timeline or just shows their interactions at this timeline. But almost certainly, if the way this is set up, there would be nobody else alive, really. It's just kind of like Q, I think, in Mira. So if there was a memory where it's just Q and Mira in this timeline, that makes sense. Otherwise, it has to be somebody uses the teleporter and jumps from one timeline to another to be past the events where all 9 of the characters are dead. Now let's jump back to this point and just see what happens when we press the button, which almost certainly also is a game over.
The hell is this?
Alright.
Looks like a button.
Just go ahead and skip through all these cutscenes. Sigmund Phi in this memory fragment, again, not really playing a big enough role to be actual main characters. Let's hit it very quickly and see if maybe you get an extra achievement for doing that, since you got an achievement for not hitting it quickly. Or not hitting it at all. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually doesn't do anything and the message is that your decisions actually don't matter, it is just random chance. But apparently it blows up the entire facility and everybody in it, which in a weird way kills the killer that you don't even know about. No achievement for doing that. But all the suppression sections are cleared in the flowchart, so that is something that the game obviously wants you to take advantage of. That being said, it doesn't seem like this then lets you get past this point. Something is going to have to change this point, or this timeline starts here. And seeing both of those memories doesn't really feel like it changed anything here. We still need an 8-digit code. We still don't have an 8-digit code. There was a character in one of the previous Nonary games that was like a robot named 5. So one of the codes being labeled 5 is interesting. Or the robot was named after a number. Maybe the number wasn't 5. So yeah, if I'd been guaranteed that that was as far as we were going to get, I wouldn't have bothered to take a break. But that is as far as we got. So next time we'll do a Q team new memory, and then I guess we'll jump around and do a C team, and then a D team again, and then once that happens, we will have done everything. And that will be the interesting spot where will we unlock new memories because we have done all the first unlocks of memory fragments, or will we unlock memories just because we've done the sequences that actually get to endings that act as gatekeeping keys, or will we not unlock memories at all, and the only way to unlock more memories is to come back and replay this section and vote differently, or possibly find out like what the 8-digit key is here to go further. Like this section just won't move further at all until we get an ending, and that's pretty much true for all of these. And then we have this 3 dice problem, which we can't get past until we figure out how to find loaded dice in this section, or there is some kind of joke where we have to just load this over and over again and try and actually get 3 ones naturally without cheating. We can't get this section until we know what Q's name is, and it's going to be fairly hard to figure out what Q's name is unless it gets mentioned somewhere else. Yeah. There's a lot of gameplay still to play, to say the least. But that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.